In this video, I'll be explaining how rationalism has influenced media content and public discourse in Malaysia. First, let's understand what rationalism means. Rationalism is the belief that reason and logic are the main sources of knowledge. It focuses on using evidence, facts, and logical thinking to make sense of the world instead of relying only on emotions, traditions, or authority. This way of thinking has shaped not only philosophy and science, but also the way Malaysians produce, consume, and discuss information in the media. Let's start with how rationalism influences media content. Rationalism encourages media organizations to base their stories on facts, data, and logical explanations. This means journalists are expected to provide clear evidence and verified information in their reports. Statement 1. Rationalism promotes fact-based and evidence-driven reporting in Malaysian media. For example, news outlets like The Star and Malaysia Kini often rely on research and expert opinions when covering complex issues such as economic policies, public health, or environmental challenges. During the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, many reports highlighted data from the Ministry of Health and insights from scientists instead of spreading fear or rumors. By doing so, the media helped Malaysians make informed decisions based on facts, not emotions. This approach clearly reflects the influence of rationalist thinking, valuing truth, logic, and evidence in shaping public understanding. Now let's look at public discourse, meaning how people in Malaysia discuss and debate issues. Today, much of our public discussion happens online, especially on platforms like X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. Rationalism has influenced these conversations by encouraging logical and reasoned arguments rather than purely emotional responses. Statement 2. Rationalism promotes critical and analytical discussions in Malaysian public discourse. For example, when people debate topics such as education reform, environmental protection, or government transparency, many Malaysians now support their opinions with statistics, credible sources, and logical reasoning. This shift shows a growing preference for evidence-based discussions. Of course, not every conversation is perfectly rational. Emotions and bias still exist. But overall, more Malaysians are thinking critically and questioning the information they receive before accepting it as truth. Beyond journalism and online debates, rationalism also shapes how Malaysians approach truth and credibility in general. It encourages people to verify news from multiple sources, check facts, and value accuracy over sensationalism. This growing sense of media literacy, knowing how to evaluate information, is one of the most positive outcomes of rationalist influence. It pushes both media producers and the public to be more responsible, logical, and evidence-oriented in communication. In conclusion, rationalism has played a major role in shaping Malaysia's media content and public discourse. It promotes fact-based reporting, encourages logical discussions, and helps Malaysians think critically about the information they receive. While emotional and traditional elements still exist, the growing influence of rationalism continues to support a more thoughtful, informed, and analytical Malaysian society. This video explains how rationalism has influenced media content and public discourse in Malaysia. Rationalism is the belief that reason, logic, and evidence are the main sources of knowledge. In Malaysian media, rationalism appears through factual and evidence-based reporting. News outlets such as The Star and Malaysia Kini often use data, expert opinions, and verified research to support their stories. During the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, news reports focused on official data and scientific guidance rather than spreading fear, reflecting rationalist thinking. Rationalism also shapes public discourse in Malaysia, especially on social media, where people increasingly use logical arguments and factual references in debates about policies, education, or national issues. Although emotional and biased discussions still exist, rationalism promotes a culture of critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning. Overall, rationalism encourages Malaysians to value facts, verify information, and think logically, strengthening both media credibility and public understanding in a modern, democratic society.